Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to take things just a little bit slower. We've got some overcast. The sun's trying to burn through, but I don't think it's going to completely, which makes it ideal for walking around, taking a look at a few things that are going on in the garden. I wanted to give you an update on the cut flower garden, how it looks after our tremendous amount of heat. We're right here at the beginning of August, and I think most of July was over 100 degrees. Yesterday it was 108. Some people were saying it got up to 110 where they were at in the valley. And today is supposed to be over 100. We're really close to it right now, and it's muggy. So I thought, you know what? I don't really want to be planting anything today. Let's take a look at how things are doing. We're also going to be cutting a few hydrangeas for our mantle, and I organized some cupboards this morning because I was just in the mood to do that, and I came across my very first garden journal, and I wanted to show you that. First off, we're standing at the entrance of the cut flower garden, and the containers we planted up are just stunning. I love these plants so much. Now we've got Superbena Cobalt, Supertunia Bordeaux. There are some Marshmallow Bidens in here, which you can see them popping through here and there. A little bit more on that container. We'll walk over there in a second. Stratosphere White Gara, which I just love. It's just this super magical kind of fairy-esque plant popping through everything. And then we've also got some Violet Night Alyssum. Didn't they just turn out great? Sometimes I have a moment where I think, should I have put more white in there, or something chartreuse or something yellow to really make it pop? Because especially with these, this is a black container. I mean, you can't see much of it anymore, but it's a black container. These are fairly dark colored blooms, and then we have the dark colored obelisk up top. And when the plants are really small, I thought, ooh, is that gonna be eye-catching enough? But I knew that once the plants had more growth on them and they had a little bit more presence, that it would probably work out, and I'm thankful that it did. They're definitely eye-catching. See, on this one, which we struggled a bit with the drip on this one, so I think it's just a tiny bit smaller, possibly. I don't know. They're both gorgeous. But you can see the Marshmallow Bidens popping through, really holding its own with the Superbena that we have in here. Supertunia Bordeaux isn't usually really aggressive, but the Superbenas can be really vigorous, and they can tend to kind of gobble up other things around them, but I think it turned out a really beautiful blend. Okay, on this side, we call this the Northeast Quadrant because there are 4 quadrants, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one houses mostly annuals. You can see in this first row here, we have Feverfew and some Bells of Ireland. Once you plant Bells of Ireland, you will never be free of it. Not that it's a bad thing, they're easy to pull, but they do spread themselves around quite a lot. We've also got some snapdragons, lots of different varieties, and there's a lot of new blooms pushing right now. This Feverfew though, I just love it as a filler. And we've got some Sunny Ball Feverfew right there, and I can't for the life of me remember what this one's called. Is it the Sweet Annie Artemisia? Looks like a total weed. For a while there I thought, is that a weed? Like, did I actually plant something there? I can't remember, but I did. I did plant it, and I planted it in 2 different spots because I didn't have enough room to do it all in one spot. And it's just like, is it gonna bloom? Looks like it might, I don't know. As a filler, maybe it's awesome. It's the first time I've ever grown it, but the plant itself looks like our native weeds. It's very healthy and happy though. Here's our row of Lisianthus. Got some gorgeous white ones right here. My word. Then we've got a Champagne variety, and then Roseanne Brown. Aren't those just so beautiful? They're all budded up too. I did not add any netting or trellising. I usually don't, honestly. I kind of like it when I've got stems that do this, when they go to the ground and then they make a curve. So they've got a natural curve to them, so they spill over the side of the vase. It doesn't make for like a super aesthetically pleasing row, but yeah, I might do it one of these days. I might get some Hortanova netting. This is a variety called Black Pearl. It's a deep plum. They're so gorgeous. This is Voyage to First Love. First time I've ever grown this variety. It's got the most gorgeous, just blush of pink. Some more white right here. Quite a lot of white toward the end. This was the section that was unidentified. I didn't know what variety they were, so I put them all at the end, and they all ended up being the white ones. Here's some of the Quartet Rainbow Stock. Beautiful color, and this one doesn't fizzle out quite as quickly or as much as the other varieties. It keeps blooming even through the 100+ degree heat. Right here we had a crop come out recently, and then we've got some Volunteer Nicotiana. which is usually a wonderful trap crop for aphids, but I don't see any aphids out here. And then the Crispidia, which are just kind of these really unusual shaped blooms. Looking back down, the Snapdragon and Lisianthus rows, just so much color. This row right here is where we had ranunculus planted. So we have those all harvested. I have not yet planted anything in this space. I might do some kind of a fall crop or just a late seeding of zinnias. I've got 2 other rows of zinnias going right there though. We seeded these after all the tulips and daffs came up. So we've got the sunspot sunflowers, which they are gearing up. Look at this. Now I seeded these thick and I did not thin a dang thing, which for the cosmos is probably a good thing. We had some watering issues with our drip tape, especially right here. Well, actually you'll see connectors everywhere. Hold on, let me pop over here. See the blue? There's blue there. There were cuts all over, and I think they were just cut from where we harvested tulips, and they just blew water everywhere, which blew seeds everywhere. Same thing right in here, same thing here. I don't know what was going on here. Doesn't matter, cosmos get huge. So here soon, this whole row will look probably very full. And then we've got 2 gorgeous rows of zinnias. This first section are the new floret ones. Look at this. I'd have to watch my planting video back because I decided not to ID any section. I just said what they were in the video, and so I could figure it out, but these are all part of the new floret collection, and I'm noticing that they are the first, like they were the first ones to come out and start blooming. This whole row to our right, they're all California giants. So it's just a big tall, 36-inch tall in the end mix of color. Very vibrant colors. There's red, orange, yellow, purple. There's like an orangey one coming out. But I've also got like Cinderella lilac, Cinderella peach. There's some, what is it, Queen Lime blush in here. There's also some purples in here. We're getting ready to see a lot of color, I think. My goodness, they look healthy, don't they? So that is the first quadrant. On the other side of the annual quadrant, we have the rose garden, which I haven't planted any new ones this year. And we just recently went through and did another round of deadheading. But the ones that are in here are doing great. And you might remember I did the first 2 rows in pink tones. Next 2 rows were supposed to be apricot orange, minus whatever that one is. That one's very pink. My goodness, so is the next one. I need to, this one's April Love. Oh, so gorgeous. I need to redo tags. And then the next 2 rows are tones of yellow, and then we've got a row of white and a row of purple and reds right there. I think of all the roses in this garden, which we already need to deadhead again, is the Sweet Mademoiselle. I think this one has been the most productive. It's really highly scented, and I like the growth habit of this one. We've got tomatoes in here as well, which I only planted 6 of because I thought if I only plant 6, then I will keep on top of them. I'll keep them all nicely pruned. They are happy plants though, my goodness. And I need to get in here and harvest. I've been harvesting, but they're just absolutely loaded up with wonderful fruit. Look at that. And they're probably loaded up right in the center as well. My goodness gracious. I think this one's a super fantastic. And they are just amazing tomatoes. And you know, I see everybody say you keep your tomatoes pruned and they're gonna be more productive. Definitely more manageable. I will give you that, but they are never more productive than when I just leave them alone. When I just let them do their thing, they just produce more fruit than I have ever seen versus ones that I've tried to keep more under control. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but I don't know. I feel like this is the way to go if you want the most amount of tomatoes, if you don't mind kind of hacking through the bush to get there. Goodness gracious. More on this side too. Then we've got a sun sugar cherry tomato in here. And there are tomatoes just everywhere. They're delicious. Really nice size. And that brings us to this quadrant, which was initially intended to be the perennial section, but it's just kind of morphed into a bunch of different things. So starting here on this side, we have our pole beans. These are Kentucky Wonder. We planted these late. They look really good and starting to form up beans. You can see they're blooming all over. And we have them growing on a ranch panel, like this one right here. And then our sunflowers, which I wonder if we can see them better from this side maybe. Oh, you guys, the sunflowers are awesome. These are the White Knight variety, or white Knight. And the ones on the other side are White Light. We'll go over there in a second. They've got a light colored center. And then we've got Pro Cut Peach right here. Beautiful peachy color. Can't remember what this one is. To look at the tag, but this one is my favorite. This is the Sunrich Summer Provence. I just think these are the perfect size. They are gorgeous. They're holding up beautifully in the arrangements that my mom and I put together the other day. Then we've got Emerald Tassels Amaranth right here. At a swing over, you can see our orchard. Everything's looking good. I'm thankful the apricot trees were starting to defoliate, and then they stopped and started pushing new leaves. So hopefully next year we get some fruit from this area. And for those of you who didn't know, we had a 27-degree night come through right at the wrong time, and it took all of our fruit this year, which honestly we have enough going on to where it's almost kind of nice. Like I went to the farm stand yesterday and the kids loved it. I bought a box of peaches, just one box of peaches, and I don't feel like I have to figure out what to do with just a boatload of produce. So in some ways it's nice. We've got sweet peas right here on this ranch panel, not all the way down. The same night took some of our sweet pea plants. So anyway, we've got some beautiful Spencer ice cream is this one right here, and I think that they were the toughest out of the bunch. Then we've got Bethany's ornamental corn mix. This is the corn she grew last year, and she saved seed and gave me a big baggie full of it. So I thought, well, I really just want to grow corn for its stalks this year. And oh my gosh, this one is so tall. Okay, so I'm 5'4". I don't even know if I'm showing the whole thing. Am I showing the whole thing? Can't tell. It must be like 10 feet tall, maybe. It's really big. Right next door to our corn, we've got our pepper plants, which are absolutely loaded as well. I need to get out here and do some harvesting. Look at these, my goodness. There's Russell. Tons of bell peppers as well. Growing everything in the cut flower garden means that I have not seen a single black widow. Last year, you know, we grew our corn, tomatoes, peppers, and a bunch of flowers and all of our vine crops out there in the dirt lands. And it was the first year I'd ever gardened that space. And there must have been some sort of population explosion of black widows, but there were a ton out there. So it was kind of scary to harvest, honestly. I had to go about it really slow. In here, I mean, it doesn't mean that they couldn't be here, but I haven't seen a single one yet. And I haven't seen black widows in this space, only in the irrigation boxes around this area. But in our plants, I've never seen them in here. So there's some piece to that. Like Benjamin came out here last night and he harvested strawberries, blackberries, and carrots. So cute. He set up a store in the kitchen. And I don't mind him coming out here and doing that because I feel like he's not going to run into anything. He knows what to look for though. Here's more of that plant that we have in the annual garden that looks kind of like a weed. Big row of strawberries, super productive this year. This side, you can see we're dealing with some chlorosis. We are treating with iron. Some of it has responded, some of it has yet to respond, but this side is all spring bearing strawberries and the ever bearings are down that way. But we've got the most gorgeous crop of Rudbeckia. I'm gonna pick my way to the other end here so we can see it all. Some years I have really good luck with Rudbeckia, and some years I don't. This year is a great one. As we're going by though, look at these. Got some seascape strawberries going on. Oh yeah, we need to get back out here. Look at these. Even on plants that are kind of stressed for iron, still so productive and nice big berries. Yeah, look at all this. Hard to tell with all the leaf canopy, but lots of fruit in here. Okay, now you can see back down this row. The Sahara variety is my absolute favorite because you get a very diverse blend of color. Also, flower shape. You get some that are nice, big, and puffy. You get some that are singles like this. You get them in different colors, like some of them have a little bit more yellow, some are a little bit more burgundy. It's just a beautiful blend. And then there's Prairie Sun right here and some volunteer celosia from last year. We just let it go. Aren't those bright and cheerful? And the pollinators just absolutely adore these plants. Then we've got some cherry brandy down here. Aren't those pretty? And then I can't remember, are these the orange fudge variety maybe? We've also, you'll notice, you'll see some bindweed in here. But these have a very unique look to them. Like they're very open in between their petals and the petals are so pointy. And these right here, I see a grasshopper, yet. Here's our beans. Remember, we planted soybeans and lima beans in here and we got this because of the bunny, which I have not seen in a while. Something must have run it off. It wasn't us, but we were seeing a cute little cottontail bunny running around in the garden for several weeks. It sheared off my beans twice. It took me a while to figure out what was going on with it, but the beans must have been a very attractive plant to that rabbit. But it hasn't eaten anything else and I haven't seen it for a while. So we got, what, 1 or 2 lima bean plants here. So, you know, better than nothing. Gosh dang, freaking bindweed. This looks like Eryngium right there. And look at our potatoes. My word, they've spread out. So some of them still have blooms on them. The first bit over here, this is the last thing we need to look at in this quadrant, but these right here, the Cuckleberry Golds, have started to, you know, brown and die back. So we're gonna be harvesting here pretty soon. A couple of volunteer sunflowers in here. Let's see if we can root around a little bit. Well, here's one right here. right there at the surface. There's a, well, let's see. Look at that, just right there. Fresh for the picking. I love harvesting potatoes, it's so fun. See all the red color as I was walking by here in the end of the strawberries. Okay, let me set these down real quick. Got some gorgeous stuff in here. We've got the Echinacea purpurea right here. All started from seed last winter. Pollinators adore this section right here. We've got a whole bunch of onions yet to harvest over here. We just looked at that the other day. We've got some sea holly, the eryngium. Look at this. Look at all of the activity around these plants. And these are awesome for dry arranging, but you do have to cut them when they've got nice color like this. Otherwise they do fade out. If you cut them at this stage, they will maintain their color, but I have a hard time doing that because the pollinators just love them so much. It's such a fun area. Just beyond the eryngium, we have more Rudbeckia, but we also have this gorgeous yarrow. This one's called Firefly Red Pop. It's a new perennial coming out from Proven Winners next year. And it's been such a fun, vibrant color. I love the blue, yellow, and red all together right here. And this is what the aged color of blooms look like. I think it's really pretty all together. You can go in and clean these off if you want. This is its first flush of bloom. Actually, this is its first flush of bloom. And then second, third, you can see how they kind of stack. Rustle. And then we do need to come in and cut back our other yarrow. You can see that the tops are looking kind of spent. These are the summer pastels. You can see a little bit of fresh color up toward the beginning here. But these are a wonderful, tough perennial, great for cutting. In the rest of this row here, we have some blue delphiniums, also some cafe cream foxglove, which you can see what the blooms look like right there. That's what all of these look like. And you can see I left the bloom stalks up because I wanted to be able to gather seed from them. Let's see. Yep. Oh my word. You see all those right there? That came from one of these little seed pods. But I just want to be able to do, you know, one of these and just spread them out and maybe do that in some flower beds. It's an enormous amount of seed. And then there's a little bit of celosia right here, but there's also a whole bunch on this side. So this is our last quadrant here. This one has got some flowers in it, the dahlias, which you can see kind of unproductive this year. There's growth in every single hole where we put a tuber, but some of them are still like this tall. They're just sitting there. I feel like they're putting about as much effort into growing as I've put into them, into their storage. I barely checked on them through the winter. We had a lot of them that were either rotting or drying out. I think some of them got too cold. And anyway, they're just kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of just crossing that one off as not doing much this season. We might get some flowers by the end of it. We'll see. This whole garden is going to be retooled. We've talked about it a little bit, but I want to add in a more formal element, mostly just for some winter interest, because our garden for 5 months at least out of the year, there's nothing out here. It's just empty dirt sitting here. And I really want to bring in some things that will make it beautiful for those 5 months out of the year. It's too large of an area. It's too focal. If this was tucked away a little bit where we didn't see it, you know, from our lane, you know, everybody driving in here, it's a huge part of the view. I really feel like we, for that reason, need to add in, not just for that reason, but that's a big one. We need to add in some plants that will bring some of that interest in and some structure to this space. Anyway, we've got some rhubarb here, and then we've got status looking beautiful. Straw flowers, we just harvested a bunch of flowers off those. I love the color that we see here. I love seeing all of the flying things out here too. So many pollinators. We've got some gorgeous celosia. These are all from Floret. This is a sangria mix right here. Very vibrant. Then we've got limonada, which is such a great color. This one goes with any color palette. It's a great filler. And then this one is rose gold. Oh, such a gorgeous color. Do you see all of these things flying everywhere? My goodness. Then we've got a pincushion flower called Morgana, which I wasn't sure if I would like it based on the color, the picture that I saw, but I thought it might be fun to try, and I think it's just gorgeous. It's just kind of a creamy color, and it adds just such a whimsical touch to an arrangement. And then we've got a bunch of gomphrena. We've got pink, we've got raspberry cream, we've got this beautiful orange, there's Audrey White right there, and then the dahlias. So that is just a little overview of this area out here. Overall, super happy with it. I feel like this year has been the least planned. I don't know, I just kind of grew stuff and threw it wherever, but it's turned into just a real fun space. So these are the next things, you guys. I've got this urn. We're gonna go back to the back corner and pick some quick fire fab hydrangea blooms for our mantle. And my mom just happens to have the urn that almost matches this. It's the same exact shape and height. It's got a fleur-de-lis on it, but the stamp is just a little bit different. So I told her that I would trade her being able to borrow her vase for a little while for a big bunch of incredible hydrangea blooms, which she has been wanting for an arrangement for their bedroom. So anyway, I will probably go get the vase, the other one from her, tomorrow. So we'll just make one arrangement today and then do the next one tomorrow. But the wonderful thing about picking hydrangeas is that they'll dry in this vase and they'll last until I'm probably ready to do something either for fall or for Christmas. Before we pick our hydrangeas, I do want to show you my garden journal. This is so fun, you guys. I completely forgot I put this together. So this I started back in 08. Aaron and I were married in 06. We moved into our first townhouse in May of 08. So I started this before we actually even moved. It was still at our very first apartment. And you know, we didn't start making videos until I think it was 2014. I'm just sweating my head off, you guys, out here. We should go in somewhere where it's air conditioned. But anyway, so we started videos in 2014. So at that point, my garden journal kind of became videos because we just shared what we were doing. And it was easy to go back and kind of figure out when I did what I planted and that kind of thing. But before then, I only had, you know, notebooks and things like that to record things in. So look at this. I saved seed packets and made little notes. This was my layout at our very first apartment. It was a tiny space, and I honestly don't even know how I fit all this in. I want to say it was like, I don't know, maybe 8 by 10. And I had a little herb garden in there, carrots, spinach, cabbage, snap peas, 2 tomatoes, beans, garlic, and strawberries. And nasturtiums, oh my gosh, and peppers. I put little pepper plants, which must be those right there. So I really packed it in and planted spring crops in mid-March. I noticed that I harvested the garlic mid-July, and it was a better crop this year. We'll replant in October. I noted about my peppers, you can see dated here 4/28/08, that I planted them too early and had very cold temperatures and had to replant both tomatoes and jalapenos that year. This is just such kind of a treasure trove for me. Look at this, is the little layout of the herb garden in there. I planted so much stuff in such a small area. I was really determined to have all the things. Oh, and then in a rectangular light concrete planter in April, I planted these things right here. Anyway, I mean, I won't go through every single page here, but you can just kind of see I noted what the container was, the date, and what I put in things. Oh, and like right here, the Chicago Fire begonia. Beautiful, interesting foliage given to me by Mom on April 8th of 08 when Mom and Dad came over for dinner. Oh, a big list of things I wanted to plant. Oh, and this was on my birthday. So things that I was able to go pick up, probably with gift cards to the garden center. Oh. I would love to know how you guys keep notes for your things. This is what I did in the front flower bed, or maybe I was just designing what I wanted to put in there. I wonder when the last date. Is this all like, this is all 08. Goodness. Anyway, that is my garden journal from back in 2008. I just thought it was so fun when I stumbled across this, and I hope you guys enjoyed seeing it. Maybe it's akin to like sharing your vacation pictures, like your slideshow of pictures with people. I don't know. But I always enjoy looking at how other people kind of try to capture their memory, those memories, or how they organize. And you know, our process has been refined throughout the years, but it's so fun to look back and look at the things that I picked out back then, and look at what things are the same and what things are different and what I've learned since this point in time, because it's 16 years ago right here. I feel like 2008 was probably the first year where it got a little bit more real for me, because we moved. I mean, I started this before we moved. We were in our apartment before, and I had that 8 by 10 garden space and one tiny little front flower bed and then containers. And then in May, we moved into our townhouse, which was so much bigger, and I had, you know, a blank slate basically to work with. It was all just grass and 2 trees. And we started in by removing pretty much everything and starting over. It was just such, or has been such a fun journey for me. I don't know. Anyway, let's go get some hydrangeas. And these are the Quick Fire Fab hydrangeas. Aren't they fantastic? This corner right here, if I swing to my right, you can see the back of the flower shed. We're back behind the orchard fence. There's the row of arbs along the west fence line there. This is the very first tree we planted on this property after we bought it. Red point maple. It's growing beautifully, never has chlorosis, neither do these hydrangeas. These are always full of bloom every single year. This is their third season, and I want to say that these get on the larger side, like 6 to 8 foot range maybe, and they can do that. I hope they do that. These are definitely ones we can cut some flowers for a couple of arrangements and we will not miss them because I can cut a lot of them from the backside. I wanted to pop something back here that it would be a nice little surprise when you drive back here. I mean, it's not really an area that people go to a whole lot, but it's nice to have some pretty things tucked in. And they're not burning from our intense heat. That is the wondrous thing about these plants. Absolutely awesome. It is a little on the warm side to be cutting flowers. I probably should have done this first thing this morning, but I'm gonna take my vase right up to where I'm cutting the stems, and we'll put the stems right in fresh water. You do want to also remove all the leaves. And there it is, isn't that beautiful? I got every single bloom from that one shrub. And you cannot even tell that I cut anything out of that. It's just still so full. Also, my camera kept overheating and turning off, so I just turned it off to cut most of these. Pretty straightforward though. Cut the stem, I remove all the leaves, and then I recut the stem right before I dunk it down into the water. If possible, I cut it underwater. So anyway, I think this is gonna be really, really pretty. I'm just gonna have to probably fuss with it a little bit once I get it onto our mantle, and I think I've got dirt on my face. Yeah, a little bit. I could see it out of the corner of my eye. It's on my nose, some mulch. All right, let's get this over to the house, and there's one more update I want to show you in front of the Hartley. All right, very last update for today is this right here. I think Aaron popped a camera out when he started this project, so let's show you that first. And here we are. So we started working on removing the pile last night. We got it about, I don't know, a third of the way removed. What I do is I back a gator in right here, and Aaron puts 2 scoops in the gator, and then I run it out to the dirt lands and dump it, come back and do the whole thing again. But it just takes a little time because the gators can only hold so much weight, and we can't get anything bigger in here without ruining something else. So Pedro is actually working on the sprinklers in the dirt lands, or not the dirt lands, the north garden. They all look like dirt lands to me right now, but he is almost done running sprinklers in that area, so we can start our lawn here back there really soon. The berm's done. I think Chad, he's brought in a bunch of dirt where the high tunnels are going to go, so he needs to get that all kind of strengthened up because he's kind of building up on the hillside a little bit for us back behind the barn. So he'll do that and then put in the gravel lane. I mean, we're getting so close, but having the sprinklers done back there, at least we can get the grass growing so that the powder dirt for the most part is covered up. And as soon as he's done with that, he's going to come in here and redo the sprinklers that we had in this area. We only had 2 functioning sprinklers left. So like this side of the grass was all dead. And we came out the other night and painted our line where we do want to put grass back in here so that I could kind of have an idea. And then we just decided the best route, because we needed to retrench this whole area for sprinkler lines, was just to lift the sod, get it out of the way, and we'll just start fresh. And this part of projects can be hard. It can be quite discouraging to see things like you feel like you take 1 step forward and then you take 20 steps back. And it takes so long to get the infrastructure in place, and you're waiting on, several different people to do their little parts in order to get it all together. So lining up up schedules can be really difficult. It's just part of the process. It's part of what you have to go through. So you have to go through things looking like pretty crummy before they start looking better. But getting the infrastructure proper and really thinking through those things is so worth it in the end. And then I think I did share with you guys the other day, we're only doing grass on this side. So as you're looking at the Hartley, there will only be grass over here, but it's going to be kind of off to the right. This will be a very deep flower bed, as will this. We initially had thought about doing grass all the way over to kind of try to balance this area a little bit, but I think the better approach is to have more flower bed and grass tucked over to the side so it doesn't look like we're forcing something like some little weird patch of grass. And then that would make our flower beds over here pretty small. And I want to be able to do some great big evergreen interest in here and so on and so forth. Plus, we don't know what this area is going to morph into once this locust tree, poor thing. I mean, half of it wants to grow and half of it's dead. Anyway, when that comes out, you know, we might be doing something wildly different in this area, which we may need some of this space for. So I don't know. I just feel like getting this part done, getting fresh grass planted, new sprinklers, it'll be really nice. Like by this fall, this area will look so, so good. And that is one of the reasons why I've left this area largely alone, because I just wasn't sure what we were going to end up doing in this space, and we have to have the sprinkler lines to do it anyway. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Big old pile of dirt. And it makes me wonder, like down the road, what are we going to do when we don't have anything to rip out? It feels just kind of par for the course at this point. One of these days we'll have it sort of buttoned up and put together, and I'm like looking forward to those days. While this is, you know, exciting in its own way, I am looking forward to the days where things are just a little bit more, a little less upheaval, a little more put together, and I can just focus on the fluff of projects instead of like these massive changes. But we still have a lot of pretty things going on out here, and it looks like we are going to start cooling off. Thank the Lord. I'm so glad that we didn't plan on planting anything today, because I have not had the camera actually shut off as many times as it has. It's been a bit of a struggle. I've gone through lots of batteries trying to keep the camera cool. Anyway, I'm going to go water everything, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the day inside. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the updates, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.